Home care turnover is relentless. The average home care agency loses 60 to 70% of its caregivers every year. Most agency owners are either posting jobs themselves between everything else they're doing, asking their scheduler to handle recruiting on top of an already full workload, or watching their pipeline dry up between crises. A dedicated caregiver recruiting virtual assistant fixes this permanently. Here is how. I'm Jeff, CRO and co-founder of ClearDesk. We place recruiting VAs with home care agencies across the US. And recruiting is the problem I hear about more consistently than almost anything else. So let me walk you through why it keeps falling apart and what it looks like when it's actually solved. Let's start with why recruiting never gets done properly in most agencies. There are two ways it breaks down. The first is the owner doing it themselves. They post a job when someone quits, screen the applications when they have a free hour, and schedule interviews when they can fit it in. Recruiting happens reactively, only when there's a crisis, and it stops the moment the immediate gap is filled. The pipeline never actually builds because nobody is working it between emergencies. The second way it breaks down is when it gets handed to the scheduler. The scheduler already has a full-time job managing the daily schedule, handling callouts, and keeping shift coverage intact. Adding recruiting on top of that doesn't double their output, it dilutes both functions. The scheduling suffers when the scheduler is screening applicants. The recruiting suffers when a call out comes in and the scheduler has to drop everything to find coverage. Neither job gets done the way it needs to be done. What both of these situations have in common is that recruiting is treated as something that happens around everything else. High turnover industries like home care need recruiting to be a permanently running function, not a task that gets picked up and put down, depending on how bad the staffing situation is that week. A dedicated recruiting VA is the answer to that. Let me walk you through exactly what they own. The first thing is job posting management. A dedicated recruiting VA posts open caregiver positions on Indeed, ZipRecruiter, and home care specific job boards every single week. Not once when someone quits, every week, consistently, whether there's a crisis or not. They keep listings fresh and updated so they stay visible in search results, because a job posting that's been sitting untouched for 3 weeks gets buried. Most agencies post once and forget it. A recruiting VA treats job posting as an ongoing function, not a one-time task. The second thing is application screening. Every application gets reviewed against a consistent set of criteria, including experience, availability, geographic coverage area, and certifications required for the role. Unqualified candidates get filtered out. Qualified candidates get moved forward to a shortlist. The owner or clinical director only sees pre-screened candidates, not every resume that comes in. This is the part of recruiting that consumes the most time. When the VA owns this, that time disappears from the owner's day entirely. The third thing is credential verification. Before any candidate gets to the interview stage, the VA confirms licenses, certifications, and background check requirements. This step gets skipped constantly when the owner is doing recruiting themselves. Not because they don't know it matters, but because it's time consuming. A dedicated recruiting VA owns credential verification completely. It happens on every candidate, every time without exception. The fourth thing is interview scheduling. The VA coordinates availability between candidates and the hiring manager, sends confirmations and reminders, and follows up on no-shows. The owner or clinical director shows up to a scheduled interview with a pre-screened credential verified candidate whose availability and paperwork have already been confirmed. They do not chase candidates. They do not send reminder texts. They show up and conduct the interview. Everything before that is handled. The fifth thing is onboarding documentation. When a candidate is hired, the VA collects all required paperwork, I-9, tax forms, compliance documents, and enters the new caregiver profile into AxisCare or WellSky. New hires don't fall through the cracks because someone forgot to send the paperwork. The process runs the same way every time. One of our clients was spending close to 10 hours a week on recruiting herself. Within 30 days of bringing on a ClearDesk VA, she had 3 qualified candidates in the pipeline at all times and had not posted a single job listing herself. The pipeline was running. She had stopped being the person running it. Now, let me address a question I get from almost every agency owner at this point. Can one person handle both recruiting and scheduling? The honest answer is yes, in a limited way. A scheduling VA can handle light recruiting support. But if recruiting is a chronic problem, then a dedicated recruiting VA is the right call. And here's why. Recruiting and scheduling require fundamentally different mindsets. Scheduling is reactive, responding to what is happening right now. Recruiting is proactive. The recruiter's job is building the pipeline for next month before the crisis happens. When you put those two mindsets in the same person, one of them always wins. The urgency of scheduling almost always wins. The recruiting gets deprioritized. A dedicated recruiting VA means recruiting gets the focused, proactive attention it requires. Here is what a typical week looks like. Every Monday, the VA reviews the current pipeline and flags any roles that need immediate attention. 3 to 4 times a week, they post or refresh job listings to keep them visible. Every day, she screens new applications. Every week, the VA gives the owner a pipeline update. The owner knows exactly where the pipeline stands without being involved in the work. That is the structure. The owner has visibility without involvement. The pipeline runs continuously instead of in bursts. At ClearDesk, every recruiting VA we place is trained in home care compliance, credential verification, and home care software. Our acceptance rate is less than 0.5%. 1 out of every 200 applicants makes it through our rigorous vetting process. Our client satisfaction rate is 4.9 out of 5. The people we place are not generalists. They come in ready to run the function. If caregiver turnover is a constant problem, a dedicated recruiting VA is the fix. Book a call with our team at the link in the description. Thanks for watching.